Their strength of schedule right now ranks 52nd among FBS schools. Okay, so you got teams that are, they're classified as mid-tier teams, the Georgia Techs and the Armies of the world. Come on now, you're literally sitting back. We're in September. We're in mid-September, and we're sitting here, and what we're saying? We're saying two things. Number one, they got to run the table. And number two, they got to pray that USC is big time. So the season finale against USC, hopefully they'll elevate to a top 10 team in the nation, top 5 team in the nation, and then Notre Dame beats them after running the table, by the way. And then they'll make the playoffs. Nah.
Wow. Strong thoughts coming from Stephen A. Smith on Notre Dame. Well thought out, though. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Stephen A. Smith destroying Notre Dame for losing to Northern Illinois. That game was ugly to watch as Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois by the score of 16-14. With that loss, Notre Dame's chances of making the college football playoff this season have significantly decreased on paper. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. Does Notre Dame have any chance of making the college football playoff this season? I'm actually going to say yes to this question, although there is only one way Notre Dame has a shot to make the college football playoff this season. They are going to have to go undefeated moving forward. Notre Dame has to win every game, and Notre Dame better be thanking their lucky stars that they are playing under a 12-team college football playoff format, because if that wasn't the case, Notre Dame's season would already be over. Notre Dame has to finish the season with an 11-1 record. And remember, they don't get to play a conference championship game since Notre Dame is not a part of any conference whatsoever. And they're going to have to hope that some of their opponents get significantly better, because Notre Dame's schedule is not that tough moving forward, which is actually bad news for Notre Dame. The tougher the schedule, the more likely of a chance you have to make the college football playoff. Obviously, Notre Dame's schedule is not ridiculously tough. Outside of Louisville and USC, the rest of the schedule is very easy for Notre Dame. Their toughest game on paper came against Texas A&M. Granted, Texas A&M might have been an overrated team, but that was still a nice win in a hostile environment. Obviously, you look at how Notre Dame was able to ride high off of that victory, and that's why they were ranked number 5 in the country. The problem is they couldn't hold on to that spot for very long because they lost to Northern Illinois, which has been the constant theme in the Marcus Freeman era. Marcus Freeman is a great dude, but Notre Dame has constantly lost to teams that they should be beating on paper, and that's what's going to define Marcus Freeman if he doesn't change his act sooner rather than later. Obviously, this is now the 3rd time that Notre Dame has been a heavy favorite against an unranked team in the Marcus Freeman era, and they ended up losing that kind of ball game. They lost to Marshall and they lost to Stanford in the past. Now they lost to Northern Illinois. Stephen A. Smith also was quick to point out that Notre Dame has lost to unranked teams throughout the Marcus Freeman era. Roll the film.
When you look at the teams in the Power 4 conferences and what they bring to the table, when you look at the fact that Notre Dame, like Paul just said, listen, the committee, we know this, and put Paul up because I want to see Paul when I'm saying this right here, the mouth of the South. Here's the deal, y'all. We look at Notre Dame. Who did you say they lost to? Marshall? Randy Moss ain't there no more. I know they got that dude that caught that catch like Moss. You understand? But Randy Moss ain't there no more. So you got Marshall, and who else did they lose to? Who was the other team, Paul?
Stanford. They lost to Stanford,
which was a bad Stanford team, right? A mediocre Stanford team, Marshall, and now Northern Illinois. Not Illinois fighting the line now. Oh, no, not them. Northern Illinois, really?
Well said, Stephen A. Smith. This is a bad look for Notre Dame to constantly be losing to unranked teams. You can't keep changing the quarterback position. You can't keep changing the players on your roster. At some point, the common denominator has to go back to the head coach, and Marcus Freeman has to be responsible for that. A lot of people used to give Brian Kelly hate because he couldn't win the big games at Notre Dame. But one thing people didn't take appreciation for Brian Kelly was that he always beat the teams that he was supposed to beat. Brian Kelly was able to get the job done more often than not in terms of keeping Notre Dame relevant. Stephen A. Smith also questioned why Notre Dame was always getting primetime games all the time. How come they get their own national TV broadcast deal when other teams don't have that right whatsoever? He was quick to point out the privilege Notre Dame gets on a consistent basis. Roll the film.
It's got to a point where people are literally asking the question, well, why are they on national television? Why are they on national television? I mean, think about it. You're gonna start asking those questions. I mean, you got some alumni members, that are in posh positions in the television world, evidently something along those lines, because nobody can figure out why the hell the Fighting Irish are on national television all the time with their separate national television deal. You can't be losing games like this.
Losses to Marshall, Stanford, and Northern Illinois will certainly make you question why Notre Dame gets so much national TV exposure when Notre Dame cannot even beat the teams that they're supposed to beat on paper. In terms of how they lost to Northern Illinois, it's because their passing offense is pathetic. They haven't gotten anything from Riley Leonard at the quarterback position. He's a transfer from Duke. The guy has all of a sudden forgotten how to play the quarterback position at the collegiate level, because in 2 games, Riley Leonard has 0 passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Obviously, with those kind of numbers, you're not going to have good passing stats whatsoever, and your passing offense is not going to be very effective. That's the biggest reason why Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. If your defense is only giving up 16 points in college football, the quarterback has to find a way to score 17 or more points, but obviously, Riley Leonard hasn't had the ability to do much of anything. That's why Notre Dame's offense has been struggling mightily, and I would think long and hard about making a quarterback change sooner rather than later if Riley Leonard cannot get things going this weekend against Purdue. I also have one final clip that I would love to show to you guys as well. It's about Stephen A. Smith's prediction on Notre Dame. He already said that their season is going to be over moving forward. Roll the film.
Of course, I'm a fan of Marcus Freeman. I like the brother personally. I certainly don't root against him, but the facts are the facts. With a schedule that is suspect, and now it's ranked as the 52nd toughest schedule in the FBS, combined with games like Georgia Tech and Army on the schedule, we got to look at them and say, all right, man, handle your business against Louisville, handle your business against USC. That is your claim to the playoffs? It ain't happening. Hell no. I can't see it. It's over right now in September.
Although Stephen A. Smith overreacted to an extent, I can't completely help but agree with Stephen A. Smith, because Notre Dame is going to have to go undefeated moving forward. Notre Dame is not going to make the college football playoff with 2 losses. Notre Dame is going to have to finish the season with an 11-1 record, and they better hope that USC and Louisville can become great teams this year, because that's going to be a great resume builder. Because if those 2 teams are not great, then what is Notre Dame's standout win? What's going to cancel out a bad loss to Northern Illinois? Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois totally screws up their plans to make the college football playoff this year. Although I'm not going to say it's over, it's not likely Notre Dame is making the college football playoff this year. The only path that Notre Dame has to making the college football playoff this year is winning out the remainder of their games, which means they're going to have to go 10-0 in their final 10 games. Can they do it? That remains to be seen. I can't say I feel confident about that happening, but they do have an easy schedule compared to some of the other teams in college football. So Notre Dame, they've got a decent opportunity to make the college football playoff with their remaining schedule. The thing is though, can you go undefeated? That's really hard to do for any given team at any given point during the season, but we'll see how it plays out though. I'm going to ultimately say that Notre Dame will not go undefeated in the remaining games. It's just too hard to go 10-0 in your final 10 games, particularly when the pressure is on that team to perform every single week. So that is why Notre Dame will have to go undefeated in order to even have a chance at making the college football playoff this season. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.